Hello, hello, hello. Hey, yo. What's going on? It's Adrian. And guess what? It's week one NFL football. We here. It's finally upon us. Football is starting back up. And the first game of the week is a doozy. It's starting tomorrow. Today is Wednesday. It's September 6th. Football starts tomorrow with the Lions and Chiefs. So I'm making a pick'ems video, baby. Week one pick'ems. So let's jump right in. So, first things first, we got the Lions at the Chiefs. There we go. Lions at the Chiefs on Thursday night football, baby. Week one, we get to see Patty Mahomes. That's awesome, and I'm so happy for it. This game is going to be probably pretty high scoring, I would assume. For the Lions have a few question marks. Obviously, they were like huge last year in Hard Knocks, and then they almost made the playoffs. We got very excited for them. I wanted them in, but there's just too much competition going on. They weren't ready. But now, year two, well, or is it year? I think it's year three. But they got Jared Goff still back there. He looks like he's reborn and lit a fire under him coming to Detroit. They got some receivers in there. Equanimous St. Brown. Wait, is that his name? St. Brown. That's not his name, is it? I feel like that's his brother's name. Now I feel like a fool. But either way, St. Brown is a big receiver for him. He should be doing work against the Chiefs defense. They got the running back from the draft in round one. He was a little bit of a reach, and Gibbs, but he's dangerous. He should be getting some work done. It might be a little difficult, but the possible absence of Chris Jones might make it a little bit easier. My stomach just crumbled real bad there. I guess I should eat something. But yeah, the Lions have some weapons. They're missing quite a few of their receivers from gambling. Jameson Williams still isn't playing. I don't know if he's ever going to play for them at this point. He's going to miss some games. So they do have some question marks. They have a really good O-line. Their defense is okay. But they're facing the Chiefs, right? The only thing that might be good for them is that Chris Jones and Travis Kelce now might both miss this game. Travis Kelce dealing with an injury that he sustained. He hyperextended his knee. That sucks. He said he's going to play, but just because the player says they're going to doesn't mean that they're going to. You know what I'm saying? Travis Kelce might play, though. If he doesn't, that's a huge blow to the Chiefs' offense because he is the focus. He's a beast. He's a monster. Best tight end in the NFL. One of the best tight ends in history. So that's definitely a big hurt for them. They're not sure if Kadarius Toney is going to play. He's a little lightning bolt in a bottle, but he's dealt with injuries his whole career, so that's nothing new. So where Patrick Mahomes is going to get the yards and touchdowns is quite a question mark. They got Jerick McKinnon. They got Sky Moore. He might get some big time reps in this game. They got some options. It's just nothing is set in stone as like the option now that Kelce's out and they don't have, they lost Tyreek Hill a couple years ago now. So, some question marks there, but their O-line, they reset it. Their O-line is solid and sturdy. I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. I think St. Brown's going to be scoring. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to make some big plays. Jared Goff's going to get a little crazy in there. Mahomes is going to go out and be slinging passes all over the field. I think Kelce's going to play, but in limited snaps. I think he's going to get some passes here and there, but ultimately not be used quite as much as usual. I don't think Toney's going to play. I think Sky Moore is going to go off. And then the rookie, Rashee Rice, probably maybe make a big play. Ultimately, though, I just don't think the Lions quite have enough to take out the Chiefs yet. So I got the Chiefs taking it at home, too. All right, next we got the Bengals heading in to Cleveland to take on the Brownies. This is going to be probably another really good game, to be honest. The Bengals, obviously, Joe Burrow, he's questionable, but I would be surprised if he didn't play, to be honest. If he doesn't play, then they're in trouble, but I think he's going to play. And then, they got a solid O-line. They brought in Orlando Brown to fix that up. Jonah's moving to the right. I think the O-line's going to be fixed. I think they're going to be much better. And obviously, they got Chase back there. Jamar Chase, he's unstoppable. I don't think the Browns can do anything about that. They still got Mixon. He's a little questionable, but I mean, he's been solid his whole career there. So, yeah, they got the receivers, the backup receivers there, Higgins and Boyd. They're going to do some damage. Ultimately, I don't know if the Browns are going to be able to handle it, but if we go to the Browns, I mean, they got a really good team. They got a really good O-line, one of the best in the league. They got Nick Chubb back there. He's been a beast since he came to the league. They got Njoku, who's looking to possibly break out at tight end, very talented. Amari Cooper. Peoples-Jones, a decent backup tight receiver. They have a lot of weapons, and then both defenses are pretty solid. Ultimately, it might just come down to how Deshaun Watson looks. If he looks good again, then this will be a really good game. It's going to go back and forth, and like last team with the ball is probably going to win. If Watson if he looks more like he did last year, Bengals are going to cream them probably. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a good game. I just don't know if I can fully trust Watson being back yet. They're going to put up a really good fight, though. But I can't go against the Bengals. I can't do it. Not in this game. So, I got the Bengals taking that win, going 1-0. Brownies dropping it. Next, we're going to move to the Texans heading into Baltimore. The Texans obviously have been one of the worst teams in the league over the past few years. This year, they're coming in. They got the rookie C.J. Stroud. We're gonna see what he can do. He's coming into a tough first game, though. Let me tell you. They got Dameon Pierce. They're probably gonna lean on the run, probably all year. With Dameon Pierce, he looked really good last year as their running back. And honestly, who's C.J. Stroud really throwing to? They don't really have a number one overall receiver. Nico Collins might be their number one guy right now. He's a backup on most teams, or maybe the second overall receiver. Tank Dell, he can make some plays. They got Mechie. He's coming back from his, I think he missed all last year with cancer. They got Dalton Schultz at tight end. I don't know. I like their head coach. That's all I can say. They got the head coach from the 49ers, and he has been impressive. So hopefully he can get this group up to get their capabilities, but week one might be a stretch, especially against the Ravens. The Ravens have a really good defense. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to move the ball against them, really. Lamar is going to be running all over the place on this defense. They got OBJ. Mark Andrews might not play, but he probably will. He's always reliable. J.K. Dobbins back from his injuries. Hopefully he doesn't miss any games this year. And then the Ravens O-line is really good too. They got the new O-coordinator, Monken from Georgia. I think this one might be bad. I think the Ravens are going to just demolish the Texans, completely annihilate them, and I don't know what the Texans can do about it, to be honest. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll have a little fight in them in week one, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the Ravens are going to just go to town and show that they're a good team, and they will beat a bad team like the Texans. Next, we got the Buccaneers heading to Minnesota to take on Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. The Bucs are a question mark this year. Tom Brady retired, obviously. They brought in Baker. Baker's really streaky, so we'll see. He might be really excited. He won the starting role going into Minnesota. Maybe he'll be going crazy. Maybe he'll wake up dangerous. Who knows? Baker can go off at any given time, but he can also flop at any given time, which is why he keeps losing his job. He's got Mike Evans. Is he going to play? Maybe. He's got the other receiver there that's been there for a while. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Let me look it up real quick. I'm struggling. Godwin. Yeah, so they got Mike Evans and they got Chris Godwin. Those are two really good receivers for Tom Brady and for Jameis Winston. Are they going to be now that they're a little older for Baker? We'll see. Um, I think they still got some fight in them, and the Vikings' defense is nothing to write home about. So I think they'll make some plays. Then they got the new running back Rashad. Um, we'll see what he can do. I don't really know. Behind their questionable O line now, their O line was really good. Now they lost their center, possibly for his career. They lost I think the guard last year retired. Um, they're moving Tristan Wirfs to left tackle because they lost their left tackle. The O line might be a mess, and that'll make everything much harder for Rachaad White and for Baker. And the defense is also a question mark. They used to be solid. Now who knows what they're going to be. And I also don't trust Todd Bowles as the head coach. So this might be tough. They do have weapons though, so they could pull it off. But the Vikings, are they gonna? The Vikings have Jefferson, like best receiver in the league. Jefferson, he's gonna have a field day against its Bucks D. They got Hawkinson back there. They got the rookie Addison. He's dangerous. Their defense is a question mark, which is why I could see the Bucks pulling this off. Plus, Alexander Madison's very unproven in the backfield and running back. But ultimately, I just don't know if I can pick against the Vikings in this game. Just 'cause I think the Bucks have more question marks, and I don't fully trust the coach or the quarterback or the defense. So I think with Jefferson, ultimately the Vikings are going to take it. We're going to move ahead to the Panthers heading to Atlanta. So this is a big game because this division is wide open. They were all terrible last year. The Panthers, obviously, they drafted Bryce Young. They have high hopes and high expectations for him. They brought in Frank Reich as the head coach. He brought in a solid coaching staff that should, in the future, bring this team up to the level that their fans expect. Year one might be rough, though. As you saw in the preseason, their O-line is rough. They got Icky still. I don't know. He had games where he looked good last year, and then he had games where he just looked like he was a rookie. So, will he make a year two leap? We'll see. Preseason was rough, though. The receivers, question marks. They traded their top receiver to the Bears so they could draft Bryce Young. They're replacing him with DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, and a bunch of question marks. So who's Bryce throwing to? We'll see. It might be difficult. And then they got Miles Sanders from the Eagles at running back. He can be dangerous, but he was also behind the Eagles O-line when he was dangerous. Behind this O-line, is he gonna be? We'll see. He can catch and run. So I think, and their defense is like, I think maybe the saving grace of this team and Bryce Young's like running ability. Just the defense was pretty solid last year. They had ups and downs, but they were pretty solid overall. So maybe the defense can win them some games, and Bryce Young thinking on his feet. Week one though with Atlanta, Desmond Ridder is a big question mark. He looks like he might be a game manager type, but ultimately, like, I just think the Falcons are going to be more dangerous. They're like the Panthers are. I think the Panthers can win some games randomly throughout the year, but ultimately I think they're a bad team. The Falcons, I think, are like a decent team that's going to be trying to make the playoffs, losing to like good teams, but they should be beating bad teams. And I think the Panthers are a bad team. The Falcons got Bijan they drafted. He should be a tank. We're going to see in week one. And then they got Drake and Pitts back there. They're both weapons that Ridder, all he has to do is find them, and they can make a big play. Last year, obviously, they kind of struggled with that, but I think with the addition of Bijan and their O-line improving, I think ultimately they're going to be a lot better, and they should, in my opinion, win this game. Their defense is a question mark, so if Bryce Young and maybe DJ Moore can make some big plays, then maybe the Panthers can pull it off, but I think the Falcons got it. Next, we got the Cardinals heading in to face the Commanders. Big question marks for both teams, but more question marks for the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals, they we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be after they cut McCoy. I think it's going to be Clayton Tune just because he's been there longer and they drafted him. But it could be Josh Dobbs. He looked semi-decent for the Titans and played in a playoff game. He's got experience, I guess. We'll probably see both of them, but for this game, I think it's going to be Clayton Tune. Um, but who is he throwing to? Who's running the ball? Who's doing anything for the Cardinals? They're a mess, absolute mess right now. Um, they have a bad defense, bad O line, uh, bad weapons. Like they got James Conner, I guess. They got Zach Ertz. He's old. Trey McBride. He hasn't proven anything yet. The receivers, Rondale and Hollywood Brown. They're both like number twos. I don't think either of them are a number one. And with the O line struggling and with a quarterback they can't trust, I don't see them doing much against the Commanders, especially because the Commanders' defense is probably one of the better ones in the league if they can figure it out. Um, obviously the Commanders' Sam Howell is a question mark at quarterback, but I liked him coming out of UNC. I liked him. I was surprised he went to the fifth round. He can do a little bit of everything. He can run, he can throw, he can read the field and be a commander. Commander. Their defense, like I said, solid. They got a lot of weapons back in the defense. I don't think they're going to let the Cardinals do much of anything. Their O line's a bit of a question mark, but I don't think it really matters for this game. Scary Terry might not play. If he does, then the Cardinals are absolutely screwed. If he doesn't play, then they're still screwed because they got Jahan Dotson. He's going to probably make some big plays in this game. Curtis Samuel, I could see making a big play. They got Brian Robinson in the backfield. He's dangerous, especially against a bad defense. I think Eric Bieniemy is going to show everyone why the Commanders brought him in to be their coordinator, and the Cardinals should get absolutely demolished in this game. I don't see it being any good. So let's move on. Jaguars heading into Indianapolis to face the Colts. Jaguars, obviously, they proved that Doug Peterson is a good coach last year and that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. They surprised the Chargers in the playoffs, made a little run, but now it's year two. Everything's back to zero. Can the Jags be really good again? Week one, I think they're going to prove it. They, like I said, they got Trevor Lawrence, Ridley and Kirk at receiver. Kirk was really good for them last year, and they're bringing in Ridley from his suspension. That's a dangerous duo, in my opinion, and I think they're going to make some noise, especially in this game. Right off the bat, they got Evan Ingram back. He's dangerous when he gets the ball. Well, a few catching problems, but he's dangerous when he gets the ball. Their O-line and their defense is a question mark. They've drafted Trayvon Walker and Anton Harrison in the past couple drafts to try to shore up both sides there of the line, but both those guys are question marks. We don't know if either of them are going to be any good. Trayvon Walker didn't show much last year, and Anton is a bit of a work in progress. So we'll see if both of those guys can start producing. Then their offense and defense will be better, but they still should be beating bad teams. So talking about bad teams, the Colts last year they were horrible. They got their entire staff fired. Quarterbacks basically retired. They were terrible. Now they got Anthony Richardson, right? Big question mark. I am so surprised he's starting week one. He looked up and down in the preseason. So I guess that's why they're going with him over Gardner. I really wish Gardner was playing in this game against his old team, but it's going to be Anthony Richardson, and he is the big question mark for them, really. Because if he can produce right away and be dangerous, then they'll have a chance against anybody. But I think it's going to take some time. I think this game is going to be rough. They don't have a great defense, so he'll be able to make some plays in there. But you can't really trust the Colts. Jonathan Taylor's not playing. He's kind of holding out, kind of injured. So they got Deion Jackson back there. He's a question mark. What are we going to see from him? He's running behind a questionable O-line that used to be really good. Quentin Nelson didn't even look all that good last year. He was the best in the league for a while. So that's a question. All that's questionable. And They got Michael Pittman. If Richardson can figure it out with Pittman, then maybe they can win some games. But I don't know. And week one against the Jags, I don't think is where it's gonna start. I think the Jags are gonna pick them apart. The Colts and Richardson will show a little life, I think, but the Jags are gonna pick them apart, and it's not gonna be a good game. Next, we got the 49ers heading into Pittsburgh against the Steelers. The 49ers have been good for a long time. They've had a few bad years here and there when injuries pile up, which they always seem to, but Kyle Shanahan's always got them in a good spot. Um, they are absolutely loaded on both sides of the field with McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk as the main weapons. Maybe Kittle. Kittle looked a little rough last year. He's getting old. He's getting injured. He might not play in this game. But when he does play, he is a dangerous weapon as well. Their O-line is, I guess, kind of a question mark. They lost the right tackle, but I like the one that they brought in. I think they'll be fine. Their defense is always amazing. They do a great job with drafting and bringing in guys to coach up their players. Nick Bosa is holding out, so he might not play. He hasn't been to the team, so I think it's questionable that he plays. They definitely could use him in this game, but I think the defense will be still solid without him. Um, their O-line's actually pretty good. They're not bad. When I say questionable, they're not bad. They're just like I don't know if they're one of the best in the league. You know what I mean? Um, and then yeah, pretty much everything I think it just lays on Brock Purdy's shoes. Like the sophomore, last pick of last year's draft. Will he come out and just be balling like he did last year? We'll see. He's coming in against the Steelers' solid defense for his first game of the year, so he's gonna have to prove himself early on. The Steelers have a good defense. The They got Baby Watt over there. He's a bit of a beast. They got a good defense, basically, is what I'm going with, and the offense is like reloaded. I think they're going to be a lot better this year. Last year they were trying to make a playoff push, but ultimately failed down the stretch. I didn't believe in Pickett before this year, really. I thought he was going to be kind of a bust, but in the preseason, Kenny Pickett looked actually really good. Um, and he's got really good coaching there. They got George Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Pat Freiermuth to throw to, so he's got weapons to find on the field, and he's good at finding them. The O line is good again. I trust them. I think they're solid. And then they got Najee Harris in the backfield. I think the Steelers are going to be a running team for the most part, but when they throw, I think Pickett's going to find their guys to move the chains. So I think this is a dangerous game for San Fran. I think the Steelers definitely could take this, but ultimately I am going to go with San Francisco for the win here. I think it's all going to come down to, well, I was going to say coaching, but I like both. Both of these coaches are really good. So ultimately, it might just come down to a big play. And with Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey, I think the 49ers just have a little bit more firepower back there. So that is why I think the 49ers are going to take this one. But it's going to be a good game. This is going to be a good game. Next, we got the Tennessee Titans heading into New Orleans, going down to the Bayou to face the Saints in week one. The Titans, a lot of questions on this team, right? Their O-line, probably the worst in the league right now. They brought in Dillard and Skoransky to try to fix it. Dillard hasn't proven anything with the Eagles, and Skoransky was good in college, but that's always a question mark coming in. So I think the line is probably still a question mark. This isn't the worst team to play in week one to figure that out, but the Saints D isn't like, they're no slouch, right? Like the Titans are going to have to work for it. They still got Derrick Henry. Hopefully they fix the O-line so he can get back to being Derrick Henry. Everyone seems to think like he's heading to that downturn for all running backs seem to have. I still think Henry's going to be good though. So I think he's dangerous. They brought in D Hop and they got Traylon Burks from last year. Burks struggled last year. D Hop was kind of pissed off last year, but if they both figure it out with Tannehill, and if the O line works out, the Titans could still be dangerous. A lot of people think they're going to be bad this year. I still think they could be dangerous. Ultimately, it really depends on the O line to me. The defense, I think, should be solid still. They got a defensive coach that always gets them running. So I think it all comes basically down to how the O line plays this year for the Titans. Um, in this game, they they're gonna have a little battle. The Saints, they brought in Derek Carr. He should be a lot better for them. They got Olave back there. He's going to be dangerous this year for Derek Carr. As long as they mesh like in this game, week one, he's going to be real dangerous for them. They got Michael Thomas still. He's been basically a ghost for the past few years with injuries. So we'll see if he can come in and be Michael Thomas again. But that's a couple weapons. They're missing Alvin Kamara. He's suspended. But they brought in Jamal Williams, who was a beast for the Lions last year. He's a touchdown machine. Will he be doing that against the Titans? Maybe not. But he's not like a bad running back, so I think he'll still be dangerous. And then they have a solid O-line as well, and like I said, solid defense. Their defense was up and down, but ultimately they're solid defense. So this should be a good game, honestly. I think it's going to come down to who has more question marks, honestly. The Saints are missing a couple guys. The Titans, O-line's questionable. So this could really go either way, but I'm trusting Derrick Henry and the Titans and that coach to overcome in this game and just figure it out. I don't like the coaching staff in the Saints, so I'm going with the Tennessee Titans in week one. Next, we got the Raiders and Broncos. This could be a really good game as well. It really all depends. The Raiders, they brought in Jimmy G. He's been a good quarterback his whole career. So that, I don't know if that's an upgrade over Derek Carr. They're probably pretty similar, honestly. Jimmy G might be more of a game manager type, so maybe that's better for the Raiders. I don't know. They still got Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow's getting a little old. He didn't look as good, but I think Jimmy should be able to find them. Should be solid. They got Jacobs in the backfield. They paid him, so he's, I guess, back and happy for this year at least, maybe. He was really good last year, though. And the O-line was pretty solid last year. So I think they'll be good for Jimmy. Maybe not in this game. I don't know. Maybe they'll be all right. I think they'll be all right in this game. And then the defense is probably the biggest question mark. I love their D coordinator, but that defense was rough last year. And Chandler Jones, one of the defensive leaders, is kind of in a riff with the coaching staff right now. So the Raiders could implode this year, but game one, are they? I think they'll come out and be fighting. I don't trust their coaching staff, though, and the Broncos, I think, is a solid first game for them to figure out who they are as a team, though. The Broncos, their biggest question mark is probably Russell Wilson. He was rough last year. He was really rough last year. Sean Payton, I think, is going to get him going, though. I think he should be a lot better. He'll probably be like on par with Jimmy G this year, I think. But yeah, the receiving room is a question mark. Tim Patrick's gone. Jerry Jeudy looks like he's going to miss this game. That Cortland Sutton still, he was very injured last year, so we'll see if he can come back from his injury and be really good again. I trust him. I think he'll be good, so that's one weapon for him. Javonte Williams also coming back from a big injury last year. Will he get back to who he is? That's a big question mark. So they have a lot of question marks, basically, is what I'm getting at. Their O-line should be better. They brought in Powers and McGlinchey to shore that up, so I think they'll be better there. And their defense is still pretty solid. So they have a lot of question marks on offense, but I think I trust the coaching staff just a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Broncos to win that game. But that one could be It could be a sloppy battle or it could be a really good battle. We'll see, but I'm picking the Broncos week 1. Next, we got the Eagles heading in to Foxborough to take on the Pats. The Eagles are dangerous, right? They're probably one of the most talented teams in the league, if not the most talented. They paid Hurts. He's dangerous, throwing and running. He's really good. Um, they got AJ Brown and Devontae at receiver. They're both really good. I think Devontae can be a number 1, but they got AJ too. That's dangerous. Can the Pats corners handle him? I don't know. And then they brought in DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny from their teams last year. Both of them were number 1 running backs in the past, and they've both shown a lot. And behind the Eagles' amazing offensive line, I think both of those running backs are going to be having huge plays this year, and I'm excited for both of them because they both deserve a second chance. Will they get against the Pats D? We'll see. The Pats do have a good D, but the Eagles just have so many weapons, and they have Goddard too. Um, they just have so many weapons. They have a new coach on both sides of the line, but I trust them both with the players they have. Um, the Pats, Mac Jones, we'll see if he can get back. I think he's in good hands with Bob, B-O-B. I think he's in good hands with him now. The receivers are a question mark. They got Juju. They still got Devontae. Um, both of those guys are like kind of number 2s in my opinion, so they're kind of missing their number 1 threat. They are trying to get back to the tight ends that they had back in the day, but with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, that's like the Kmart brand version of what they used to have. You know what I'm saying? But they could still do some work this year. The O line is a question mark. They struggled a bit last year, so we'll see what they can do. That defense, though, the Pats' defense is always good, no matter who they have back there. So that is one thing that they got going for them. But ultimately, I just don't think they can hold off the Eagles. I think the Pats might start out trying to fight, but I just think they're going to get overwhelmed, and then they're going to have to focus on Mac trying to make a lot of plays in the second half, and ultimately I just think the Eagles are just too much for them. So I got the Eagles taking out the Pats. Next we got the Rams going to Seattle. Seattle's always a dangerous place to go to, especially if you're a Ram, right? The Rams, they're a big question mark this year. We still like their coach, Sean McVay, but other than him, it's a big question mark. Matt Stafford, can he come back from that injury and be productive and confident in this team? Plus, they might not be a playoff team, and Matt Stafford left the Lions because of that. So, how into this team is he right now? Cooper Kupp is going to miss this game. He's injured. He might miss multiple games. So, without Cooper Kupp, who do the Rams even have? This might be a bad game for them. It might be bad. Their O line's a question mark. They were awful last year. And without Cooper Kupp, they got Van Jefferson, maybe Tutu Atwell to be making plays for him. And their defense, other than Aaron Donald, is also a mess. So this is a bad game. This is a bad game for the Rams to go into. I don't have any faith in them. Seahawks, they got Geno. He looked really good last year. I love the coaching staff. They're always great. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They brought in Juju. No, they brought in JSN. My mistake. They brought in JSN. He might miss this game. He'll probably miss this game. But DK and Tyler Lockett are good enough on their own. Plus, they got Kenneth Walker in the backfield. And their O-line is a bit of a question mark, but they're good enough, especially for this game. And their defense is decent as well. Not what they once were, but they're still decent. So ultimately, I just don't think the Rams have a chance. I think the Seahawks are going to dismantle them from the get-go, and this will be a rough game. Next, we got the Dolphins at the Chargers. Honestly, this should be a good one. The Dolphins are a very dangerous, very fast team with Mike McDaniel, a very dangerous mind, coaching them, and Tua in the backfield. Their biggest question mark is probably injuries. Tua obviously probably the most injury-prone quarterback in the league. Can he stay healthy? Because he's one of the best in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Very accurate, can make all the throws. Doesn't have the legs that most teams want these days, but he can be a very good quarterback. Um, and he's got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to throw to. Waddle is questionable, but I think he's playing. He might be on a snap count. So Reek's probably going to go off in this game. Let's be real. And then they also have Raheem Mostert in the backfield. He's basically the only healthy running back, but he's also dangerous when he gets the ball. So they're just dangerous all over the field, except for O-line. Their O-line's kind of bad. They're trying to fix it, but they're kind of bad. So the O-line could be the downfall of this team, but will it be week one? Because the Chargers D isn't like all that great to write home about. So I think I think the Dolphins will be all right. The defense is decent enough. I think they lost Ramsey, unfortunately, which was supposed to fix everything, but I think they'll be solid. Against the Chargers, this is a dangerous game for them to go into just because the Chargers and Herbert are so dangerous on offense. Herbert can make any throw imaginable, and he can run a little bit too. Um, they got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back there. They added Quentin Johnston. He's dangerous. He has drop problems, but as a third receiver, he's dangerous. And then they got Eckler still who can go crazy. The O-line is set now with Slater leading them. The defense is okay. Ultimately, this will be a battle. This will be a high-scoring event. That's what this is going to be. And I just trust Tyreek Hill a little bit more in a high-scoring event. Plus, the Chargers fan base is always like not present, and it's at home, so there might be more Dolphins fans than Chargers fans here. So that'll be a fun game. I'm excited for this one, but I think Tyreek Hill is going to have the last laugh and throw up the deuces going into the end zone here. Next, we got the Packers heading to Chicago. This is a giant question mark of a game. Anything could happen in this game. Both teams have huge question marks. The Packers, they lost Aaron Rodgers. They got Jordan Love making his case to be their franchise quarterback here. Is the first time he can try to get it here. I think this is a good game for him to start though. He's got Watson, he's got Dobbs back there at receiver. Watson was really good with Rodgers. Can he be with Love? We'll see in this game. And then they got Jones and Dillon in the backfield. That's a solid 1-2 punch. So, and then their O-line with Bakhtiari back is solid as well. Probably one of the better ones, actually. Their defense is okay. Ultimately, I think the Packers are a decent team, and I think they have just enough maybe to beat the Bears. But what they don't have is Justin Fields. The Bears have Justin Fields at quarterback, and he is just a phenom. He's dangerous. He's kind of like Lamar, but possibly a better thrower. Is that blasphemy? I don't know. Lamar's always been lauded as like the quarterback that's basically a running back, and everyone makes fun of him. Justin Fields has been having similar issues, but towards the end of the year, he looked like he was figuring it out and making some big throws. If he can be that guy for the Bears, anything is possible. With a quarterback like that, anything is possible. So it all really depends on Justin Fields. At receiver, they do have question marks. They brought in DJ Moore. That's a huge addition. He could be big for them. And then they still have Mooney and Claypool. Mooney and Claypool kind of struggled last year, but with the addition of DJ Moore, with Mooney and Claypool as a 2 and 3, I think they can be fantastic as a 2 and 3. And then the running back room is also a little questionable, a little sketchy. They got Foreman from the Panthers, and they still have Khalil Herbert. They can both be dangerous, but I don't think I would call either of them like a number one running back, more of a committee guys. So that's a little questionable there. The O-line is okay, and the defense, they used to be real good. They're kind of questionable now. So I think they're going to make some big plays in this game, and they could definitely take this. But I think the Packers just have a little bit more, they're a little more put together. So I think the Packers are going to take this one. But I could definitely see the Bears taking it. But I'm taking the Packers for now. Next, we got the Cowboys and the New York Giants. This could be a really good game. The Cowboys, their defense is really good. They're one of the better defenses in the league with Micah Parsons back there. Micah Parsons is amazing. I'm so upset that the Cowboys got him. So they have a really good defense, and they have a really good offensive line as well. Now, a good defense and a good O-line, for most teams, that's like they're set. They're a playoff team. For the Cowboys, they should be. They should be a playoff team. Dak struggled a little bit last year. He threw a lot of picks, and in the preseason and in practice, apparently, he's also looking a little rough right now. I don't know if he doesn't trust the coaching staff, if he's getting nervous right now, if he's maybe from that ankle injury a couple years back, he's just not the same guy. I don't know. I still trust him, but I'm just saying in practices and last year, he's looked a little questionable. And with their coaching staff, I don't trust them. I don't trust McCarthy, and I don't trust the new O coordinator they brought in at all. But they're so talented, it shouldn't really matter. They got CD, he's amazing. They brought in Brandon Cooks. They still got what is it, Michael Pollard or something? That's not his name. They still got the other receiver there too. Michael Gallup. Yeah, they still got Michael Gallup back there too. So they have a lot of weapons. They're going to be very dangerous. All they need is for Dak to throw the ball where the ball needs to be thrown, and they should be set. So they're going to be a real dangerous team. And I don't know if it's a great matchup for the Giants in week one, to be honest. I love the Giants. I love the Giants coaching staff. Daboll is amazing. Kafka is a wizard. Daniel Jones has everything it takes, so I think he'll be good again this year. But they do have a lot of question marks. Like, who is their number one receiver? That's a question. They got Paris Campbell. They brought him in. They got Isaiah Hodgins. He looked solid. They brought in Jalen Hyatt. None of them, I don't know if any of them are a number one receiver though. So I think they're kind of missing that. An argument you can make is Darren Waller, the tight end, is their number one receiver. He's been injury prone though the past few years, so he is a bit of a question mark. He's looked really good in the preseason and in practices though, so he should be dangerous. And they got Saquon still, of course. Saquon Jersey. They got Saquon still. He's always dangerous with the ball, but their O-line is also a question mark. They're trying to rework it. They got Andrew Thomas back there. He's a really good tackle. Other than him, though, kind of question marks everywhere. And then their defense, I think their defense is solid. They look pretty solid. They brought in a few guys. They got Thibodeaux. He's trying to have a breakout year too. But I just think they have too many question marks, whereas the Cowboys are pretty set in stone. So as much as I want to pick the Giants, I am going to pick the Cowboys. The Giants could definitely win this. They could definitely win this, but the Cowboys just have more known quality on the team than the Giants right now. So I got to pick the Cowboys, unfortunately. Making me sick to my stomach, but I'm picking the Cowboys. And the last game on the docket is the Bills heading into New York, heading into MetLife. Wait a minute. Aren't the Cowboys heading to MetLife? Well, now I'm just confused. Hold on a minute. Oh, it's different days. It's different days. Okay, yeah. We're solid. Yeah, they're being played on different days. Okay, so yeah, the Bills are heading into MetLife. So MetLife is going to be busy this week, with the Bills and Cowboys both coming to town. But yeah, Bills versus Jets week one. This is going to be a doozy, and I'm pumped about it. Everyone should be watching this game. It should be fantastic. The Bills, they're a little questionable, but they're still like a Super Bowl contending team. They still got Josh Allen. He can make all the plays. They still got Stephon Diggs. He's one of the better receivers in the league. After that, their weaponry is a little questionable. Is Gabe Davis the number two they thought he was? Can he make big plays? We'll see. Maybe he will in this game, because Sauce is going to be all over Diggs, so they're going to have to rely on somebody. Is it Gabe Davis? James Cook. They got running the backfield now. Can he be the running? This is the Cook Bowl, by the way. James Cook and Dalvin Cook both, so that's cool. But yeah, can James Cook be the guy back there behind this O line? Their O line's a little questionable, a little more question marks than they used to have. They got Osiris Torrance. He should maybe shore up the guard position at least, but a little bit more of a question mark. And then will Dalton Kincaid be much of anything in this game? He's entering as the number 2 tight end, so he might not even play much, but he is dangerous. Maybe he'll pull off a big play in this game that helps the Bills win it. We'll see. And their defense is really good though. Their defense is really good. But you know whose defense is also really good? The New York Jets. They might have the best defense in the league. It's a question mark. It could be the Cowboys or Eagles. There's arguments to be made, but the Jets have a really good defense. So the Bills are going to have some issues there. Aaron Rodgers is new to the Jets. We're going to see him in his first game with them. That should be fun. He'll be thrown to Garrett Wilson. That could be a new 1-2 there, a new threat. They got Allen Lazard they brought in as well. He's a known commodity with Aaron Rodgers. So there's a couple dangerous receivers there. And then Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall probably won't play quite that much in this game, but him and Dalvin Cook are both phenomenal, so that should be a very dangerous running back duo. And then, like I said, the defense is really good too. Sauce might shut down Diggs. That'll be a fun matchup week 1. Diggs might get pissed. We'll see what happens. And then the only question mark for the Jets really is O-line, I think. I mean, can Rodgers mesh well with this coaching staff? We'll see. They should be fine though. But yeah, the O-line is really the only question mark. They have some good pieces there. Right tackle, though, is a big question mark. Mekhi Becton won it. We'll finally, hopefully, see him play like more than one game. Will he be who they thought he was at right tackle? I trust him. I think he had a pretty solid preseason. I think he'll be a good right tackle. So ultimately, I think this is a very dangerous matchup for the Bills. I think they can win it. They're a very good team. I think they can win it. This is a very dangerous matchup for the Bills. And I picked the Bills before I went into this, but I kind of want to switch, to be honest. I think I am. I think I'm going to switch my pick to the Jets. Can I do that from here? I can't do that from where I'm at right now, but I'm switching my pick. I think the New York Jets are going to win. But that rounds it up for this week. Let me know what you think. I think I picked some solid games. And there's going to be some fun. There's going to be some fun games in this week. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what's going on. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. Peace.